The introduction to the CBRNResponder mobile app webinar will cover the basics of the CBRNResponder app, including how to submit, view, and edit data, various event aspects such as the alert and assignment feature, the chat feature, and more. The separate RadResponder and ChemResponder apps were removed from the app stores in August of 2022, and they are no longer supported. Version 1.10 is the latest, and it's available for download on iOS, Android, and Windows devices from their respective app stores. This screenshot here is from the iOS App Store. All you need to do is search for CBRNResponder, one word, and you'll see it come up as being available. The app is free to download, and you should be all set. As we go through this webinar, there will be screenshots from both Android and iOS devices. So the UI may vary slightly from the device that you have, but the functionality is going to remain the same. So if you are brand new to using the CBRNResponder app, the first thing you need to do is open the app and log in for the first time. So you'll just enter your RadResponder, ChemResponder username and password and log in. Once you're signed in, you'll then be brought to the home page, and we'll go over what this main menu has and the various capabilities that you can leverage. If you're looking to submit and view data, you can select this Select Event option. This will bring you to the events list page of all of the events that you have access to, events that are shared with you, and the ability to search for events. If the event for the particular incident that you're responding to has not yet been created, if you have the event creator permission, you can now create an event from the mobile device. The event creation form is going to be the same fields that it is on the website on your mobile application, so you can just go through and fill out all those required fields to create the new event. Next, going down to the blue section, some of these sections are going to be dependent on the hazard types that your organization has enabled. So if your organization does have the chat feature enabled, then you'll see the chat option. This is where you can message individuals or field teams in real time. If you do have the chemical hazard type enabled for your organization, you'll see this chemical SITREPs option. You can click this button to create or view an organization SITREP. So here's an example of one that I submitted. And if I had multiple, they would all be shown on this list here. Same goes for the biological SITREPs. If you have the biological hazard enabled for your organization, you'll see this button. If you don't, you will not see this button. It's going to be very similar to the chemical SITREPs. If you select this option, you'll be brought to the bio SITREPs page. You can open a SITREP to view or edit the details. You can also create an organization-wide SITREP from this page. And if you had multiple, you could view the list of all of them. Next on that list of those blue buttons, you'll see facilities. This is going to be all of your organization facilities. This list has been updated, and you'll see a little information bubble at the top that tells you that the list that you're seeing contains facilities that are enabled at the organization level belonging to or shared with one of your organizations. If you wanted to create an ad hoc facility or a new facility, it has to be created on the event side, not the organization side. You can select a facility to see its information and upload any floor plans if you wanted to. And then you'll see again the full list of facilities owned by your organizations and their corresponding icons. Second to last on that list, you'll see your resources option. This button allows you to view your mobile resource sets. Resource sets are a rather new capability in the past couple years, but this allows you to group CBRNResponder resources such as documents, tools, or videos to then push them to the mobile application for specific users. So these sets are sent to targeted users as mobile application. They can then view, download, and access those various resources. So they're split into 4 categories. The first are all resources that you have access to, ones that you've recently opened or accessed, ones that are downloaded on your device that you can view offline, and ones that have not yet been downloaded and are pending download. And lastly on that list, you have the profile option, and this is where you can manage your mobile app settings, view release notes, log out, etc. You can also manage your hidden events, so you can choose to hide various events on your event list. You can go here and either unhide or manage that. You can view the most recent release notes, the privacy policy, the diagnostics. The diagnostics button is probably where you're going to, or what you're going to utilize the most from this page, just to see which current version of the application you have. And then, of course, you can log out of your CBRNResponder account. Across the mobile application, you'll see this cloud icon. This is the sync icon. So this is going to appear, again, through multiple pages, including this main menu where you can resync your app and the various events that you're in. Once you select that, you'll get a little message letting you know that your app is currently syncing, and then it will be complete. At the bottom, you also will see this little Wi-Fi signal icon, and this indicates if you have low bandwidth mode enabled or not. If it's green, that means you do not have low bandwidth enabled. If it's white, it means you do have low bandwidth enabled. So we'll talk a little bit about what low bandwidth mode is. This was a feature released in the past year. So if you are in a low connectivity environment, you can either choose to manually turn on low bandwidth mode, or you can opt to switch to low bandwidth mode when given the prompt. This will be given to you if your mobile device detects low connection. And the benefit of enabling low bandwidth mode is that if you're collecting data, your data will still be uploaded. However, pictures, documents, and long comments will not be uploaded until you're back in a high connectivity environment. So this prioritizes getting data up into the event space. And then again, once you have better connection, better cell service, then we will upload the remaining portions of the data point. So here at the bottom, like I mentioned, if the icon is green, that indicates that you have strong connection and low bandwidth mode is not enabled. If the icon is white, then you have poor connection and low bandwidth mode is enabled. And this is also where you can change it as well. So if it's green, I can select that. It will let me know that low bandwidth mode is currently disabled, but I could manually enable it if I wanted to. And vice versa. Low bandwidth mode is enabled and I want to disable it, I can do so from here as well. Now we're going to talk about searching for and selecting an event. So since the CBRNResponder mobile application is primarily used for data collection, this is going to be the main portion of not only today's webinar, but most likely what you'll be using the mobile application for. From your main menu, you all should see a screen that says Select Event. This is going to take you to your events list. If you already have an event that you've opened previously in the CBRNResponder app, you'll see two options instead of just the select event. You'll see an option to return to your most recently selected event, and then the option to choose a different event if you no longer want to be in that previously accessed event. So from the select event screen, you'll see a handful of different buttons and things that you can open up. So the first is you're going to see that cloud icon, that resync button. You're also going to see a refresh icon. This is where you can select this button if a new event has been created, either on the website or someone else has created it on their mobile app. You'll select this button to load all new events that have recently been created. And then if you have the event creator role, you'll see this plus icon, and this is where you can create a new event. Below that, you'll see your event search bar. The Respond to Emergency button, this is going to allow you to see all emergency response events that you have access to, as well as the network-wide emergency response event. Now we're going under the My Events section. So by default, you're only going to see events from the From My Org filter. So these are going to be events that the organizations you're a member of have created. This is going to give you quick access to the events that you need. And then you also have a Shared with Me filter. So if your organization did not create the event, but your partner did, it would be under this filter. Each of these individual rows represent a separate event. So here we have a CM22, Simulation file testing, you can see that's the name of the event. Underneath it, you have the organization name, then the type of event, so a testing and training event, the hazard type, which is for this one, it's RAD, and then the date, the start date, and if there is an end date, the end date of the event. And then lastly, at the bottom in that tracking bar, you do have your low bandwidth mode indicator. By default, you're also only going to see events that are active and ones that you have access to. Active events means that data has been submitted in them within the last 30 days or have been marked as routine. And the reason we have this is because your organization may have dozens and dozens or even hundreds of events throughout the past several years. And we want to make sure that you have easy access to the events that are most applicable to you. This also means that your list may vary from someone else in your organization or just another colleague because the events list is dependent on the organizations you belong to and the events that you've been added to. Like I mentioned, you can switch easily between this From My Org and Shared With Me filters to find the event that you need to submit data to quickly. Emergency response events are indicated by a red tile. So that top option, this is where you can go into the emergency view mode and see all emergency response events. But if you navigate between your various My Event filters, so that Shared With Me option, you might see an emergency response event that is specific to an organization. If you want to view all emergency events that you have access to, you'll click that red Respond to Emergency option, and you're going to see all of the events that are typed as emergency response. You'll also see at the top that we have a quick button to call our CBRNResponder 24/7 emergency support hotline if you do need assistance during a real-world event. And then you have a list of all of those emergency response events. By default, every time a new organization is created in CBRNResponder, an organization is given the emergency response, routine monitoring, and testing and training event. So you should have, as long as your organization didn't delete it or rename it. If you cannot find your organization's emergency response event for whatever reason, you can select that Shared With Me tab and locate the event titled Respond to Emergency, which is that network-wide emergency response event. This event is open to the entire network. If you do choose to enter data into this event, everyone within CBRNResponder has access to it. So this is sort of the last option. First option would be entering data into a unique event. Second option would be entering data into your organization's specific emergency response event. And then the last option would be entering data into the network-wide event. To navigate back to the list of all of your events, you'll just select that button at the top that says Show All Events, and you're brought back to your main page. If you don't see the event that you need to submit data into on either of your From My Org or Shared With Me lists, you can utilize that search bar at the top. Here I selected Data Collection 101, and it's going to show me all open events that have that name. If I did not have access to an event, but I needed access, I can select the event in question and then select this button that says Request Access. Once the event managers review my request and approve it, I will then see an option to tap here to resync, and then it will load my event for me, and now I have access. Once you've located the event that you want to open and submit data into, you'll select the event, and you'll be brought to the configuration page. This configuration page is going to be where you can set your responder tracking preferences, download any simulations. This is for radiological events only. Download or upload any floor plans, and select your default field team if applicable. This is also where you'll see some basic information about the event, such as the name, sponsor, and the applicable hazard types. Once all your initial preferences have been set, you can select that checkbox in the upper right-hand corner. And note that you can always go back to the screen by selecting the configuration button from your event homepage. And now you are brought to your event home screen. You'll always know which event you're in because you'll see the name of the event at the top. And if you need to resync your event, again, we have that cloud icon in the upper right-hand corner. Some of you may be asking, why do you need to resync? And the answer to that is twofold. One, because the CBRNResponder mobile application can be used offline, we never want to force sync your app, because if you have poor connection, your app may be stuck in this resync mode and may be unusable. And the second is syncing brings new and updated event information from the website to your app. So if you were added to any field teams, you were assigned equipment, facilities or floor plans were added, maybe a simulation file was added, all of that from the web needs to be brought down, and syncing is the way to do so. Once you're on your event home screen, there are 4 main sections. We have the collect data, view data, and managing event parameters here on the blue buttons. Then you have 2 green buttons. These are going to be quick links to return to the CBRN app main menu and then your various resources. You then have your location accuracy and managing the settings. And at the bottom, you have your alerts and assignments and other quick useful links to the chat and your profile page. Now we'll talk about the basics of submitting a data point. So at the top, you'll see the first option is to submit data. You'll open that and you'll be presented with the various data types that this event has enabled. If you ever need to return back to that event home screen, you can just press that home button, which will be at the bottom. From the choose a data type screen, if your event is a multi-hazard event, so it has maybe the rad, bio, and chem hazard types enabled, you're able to sort by hazard type to easily locate the data point that you need to enter. And you can sort. So if I only want to see my rad data types, I can select the rad filter at the top, and I'll see the rad data types and then the all hazard ones, such as observations and data sets that aren't associated with a particular hazard. Then I can see chem and bio only data types. You'll want to select the data type that you wish to enter to be brought to that individual data type's entry form. So here I'm selecting field survey, and I'm brought to that form. I can scroll down and I can see that there are a lot of different fields that I can fill out. Some are required in order to save the data point and some are optional. If you see a red asterisk next to a field, that indicates that it is required and it must be selected or filled out in order for that data point to be saved. Any field that you do not see an asterisk for means that it is not required, but it is optional, meaning that we recommend if you have that information, you fill it in just for data assessors and more context. But if you don't have it, it's not an issue to save the data type. At the bottom of every data point, you'll see a free text comment field and the ability to add any pictures and documents under attachments. If you want to add an attachment, you can select the add or plus icon and you'll choose the attachment that you want to add, either a photo or a document. Depending on the permissions that you grant your CBRNResponder app, you may have to go into your device settings to grant it access to your phone's photo library or camera. Here's an example of how I would upload a photo. So I'll select photo, camera, I'll select the size or quality depending on my data connection. I may want to choose a small quality size, large, original. And then I need to give the application permission to access my camera. From there, I can take photos or videos. Here I took 2 pictures and provided a comment. The comment and attachment field can really be used for any purpose. Here are just some examples that we've seen users utilize it for. You can take a picture of the reading on your actual piece of equipment for validation that you entered it correctly. You can take a picture of the location or the cross streets where the reading was taken, a picture of where you were located. In the comments, you could enter weather information. If you don't have your equipment uploaded, you could enter the serial number of the piece of equipment and really any other relevant information. We just ask that you do not include photos with or of personnel or any PII. You scroll down from your data entry form, and this is applicable to all different data types, you'll see a location details section. By default, your location is reported as your current location, which is based on your device's GPS. Here we have a couple icons and things to note. So this unlocked icon means that as I move about the field, my location is going to update with me. If I locked it, that means that even if I move about, my location is not going to update because it's locked in place. Next, you'll see below your coordinates an as of date and time. This is going to let you know the most recent time your current location was updated. This was a recent feature that was added based on some requests from users who wanted to know how accurate their current location was. For example, here it says as of 11/15/2023 at 2:05 p.m. Let's say it's now 2:10 p.m. and I have traveled quite a distance. I might then choose a different location entry mode because my location may not be as accurate as I need it to be. So we just give you as much information as we can so that way you can make an informed decision as to how you want to record your location. At the bottom, you'll also see your location accuracy in this tracking bar. This is going to show you the margin of error that's acceptable for your readings reported location. So here my location accuracy is 23 meters. This means that my currently reported location has a margin of error of 23 meters. Anything considered under 30 meters is considered good or green. Anything greater than 30 is considered, not terrible, but could be better, and that will show as orange. And then if you do not have your location services enabled for the CBRNResponder application, you won't have an accuracy at all. Tracking is separate from accuracy. If you want to be tracked as in where your location and your path of where you've gone to collect data, if you want to share that with your event managers and other folks on the event, you can choose to enable or disable tracking. This is up to the individual user and you can turn it on or off at any time. I'm looking at my currently reported location, and if it's not precise enough for your needs, you can change your location mode to best report your actual location. So if I select into this location field, I'm going to see a lot of details and the ability to change my mode. Here I can see the current mode that I have selected, which is current location. I can then see the details of my current location, so the lat long, the accuracy, altitude, speed, etc., and then a visualization of where my phone is saying that I am. If you click into your location mode, this is where you can change the mode. So like I mentioned, by default, it's going to be set as current location, but you can change it. If you choose select from map, this allows you to drop a pin to indicate where you were. So here we can see I'm selecting from map. I'm going to zoom in and tap the new location. So that transparent blue circle shows my location accuracy and where my current location was being reported, but I was actually a block over, so I manually selected that drop point. Once you have the correct location that you want to associate with your data point, you can select the checkbox in the top, and your device will now show the coordinates of your newly selected location. And at the very bottom of all data entry forms, you'll see the general details section, and this is where your name, date and time, organization, field team, and the location is right above it, but this is where that's all reported. And if you are a member of multiple organizations, you will have to select which one you want your data point to be associated with. You'll double check, make sure all of the fields that are required have been filled in, and then any optional ones, and you can then go ahead and select save. For field surveys only, you will receive a message if you did not select any pieces of equipment. This just lets you know that the data that you're recording does not meet the minimum for MAC data quality standards. However, you can still save your data point. It's just a warning. For all other data types, when you save it, you'll just receive a message letting you know that your data point has been saved and that confirmation modal there. After you save a data point, a new blank form of that same data type will appear to allow for continuous data entry. If you don't want to submit another observation or another survey, simply just select that X in the upper left-hand corner and you'll be brought back to the Select Data Type page. So once you've submitted your data, I'm sure you want to then view the data and see this upload status and make any edits if necessary. So after you've submitted your data point, you've X'd out of the new form. If you no longer need to enter more data points, you'll select the Home button to be brought to your event home screen. Under Submit Data, you'll see an option that says Collected Data, and this is going to show you data that you collected on your device. Note that this list is not comprehensive of all event data. It's only going to show data that you collected on this individual device. We do have a message at the top letting you know that. And then for each data point that you see, you'll see the data type and some quick information about it. So if it's a survey, you'll see the value, the system ID, when it was collected, and its upload status. If you see a gray arrow that says pending upload, that means that your data point is in the upload queue. And if you see a green check mark that says uploaded, it means that your data point has successfully been uploaded to the server. By having these various upload statuses, this allows you to collect data offline. So even if you don't have cell service, Wi-Fi, or any data connection, the data that you collect will just be stored in this pending upload state. And then once your data connection is restored, it will then be uploaded. So this is a really great feature because, as you know, when you're collecting data and responding to calls, you may not have the best cell connection. So you can still use the CBRNResponder application with or without Wi-Fi or data connection. Once data has been uploaded, it's then available for all event responders to see on the website. So here for my gamma survey of 5.5 microR per hour, I can see that it was uploaded, and then I can now see it on the web version. From the mobile app, from the collected data screen, I can filter between data points that are pending upload, successfully uploaded, or have failed upload. If you are using the low bandwidth mode function, you may see a partially uploaded status. And this just means that your data point may have photos, documents, or long comments that are not being uploaded at this time, but once low bandwidth mode is disabled, they will be. For example, here, let's say this data point had a couple photos, a document. The basics of that data point are going to be uploaded, so the value, where it was taken, when it was taken, but those long comments and attachments will not be uploaded until my connection is restored. From the collected data list, you can navigate back to that home screen by pressing your home button. And if you wanted to view data in a geospatial environment instead of a list environment, you can select the event map. The event map on the mobile application is limited in regards to what we normally have on the website, but it does provide some good high-level situational awareness of the event and various data points that have been collected. The icons that you see on the event map reflect the event's data and other relevant information. So here I can see I have a couple gamma readings entered, a chemical reading of some type, and the color represents the severity. At the top, there's a filters icon that I can select to determine what I am seeing on my screen. So here's my filter, I'll select it, and this is where I can choose what I wish to display on my event map. I can scroll through the filters list and toggle on or off any information that I want to see. So here I am scrolling through the various categories. Looks like this is a nuclear power plant event, so I'll turn on the 10 and 50 mile layers and some user drawings. And here I can now see that 10 mile and 50 mile NPP layer on my mobile map. For the collected data list, that only shows data that you collected. However, for the map, you can see all event data. If you only wanted to see data you collected, you could select this My Data Only filter, However, if it's toggled off, you'll see all event map data. You can also now see shared user drawings on the mobile app. So if you created a drawing on the web, for example, this is a campus shelter-in-place drawing. If I make sure my event is resynced and the drawing has been shared, I will be able to see that drawing on mobile. Once all of your filters have been set, you can do the basic details of your collected data by selecting the data point. I'll get some brief information, and then I can see greater information by pressing the info icon. I can also select the details of any point on the map to be given directions on how to go to that location. So here I'm selecting this gamma survey. Maybe I needed to go to this location to take more measurements. I can then use my phone's GPS and it will give me directions on how to get there. From my map, it's going to, by default, center you at the event location or the event center, but that target icon on the top will allow you to toggle between the event center and your current location. You can also switch your map views from street, satellite, or hybrid, depending on your preference. And now we'll talk about editing data. While you've entered your data, it's very possible that you entered something incorrectly or you wanted to go back and add something later on. For data that you entered in CBRNResponder, you can go back and edit your data at any point, and you can do so by navigating to the collected data screen and then selecting an individual data point. Regardless of the upload status, you can still update it. So even though this data point has been uploaded, I can still go into the form and select that pencil or edit icon in the top right-hand corner. I can add any information or change anything if I want. And then once I'm satisfied, I'll select save, and my data point has now been updated and it will go through that upload queue again. From this page, I can also delete a data point. If you do select delete, we will make sure that this is an action that you wanted to take, so we'll have you confirm that you wanted to delete that record. We'll talk now about alerts and assignments within the event space. For each event at the bottom bar, you will see that you have a corresponding alerts and assignments screen or icon for easy access. You'll also see that there are badge icons noting the number of alerts or assignments that you have. Once an alert has been triggered, and alerts must be set up at the event level on the website, or if you've been given a data collection assignment, you'll receive a notification. You can receive notifications from a push notification, text, or email. It is your responsibility to set your notification preferences from the website. But here are some examples of notifications you may receive. So here's a push notification for alerts on the left and a push notification for a data collection assignment on the right. If you select View Alert directly from your push notification, you'll be brought to the CBRNResponder mobile application and the alert details. So here I can see the timestamp, the name of the alert, the severity of it, and then I can see the data point information that triggered that alert at the bottom. If I receive a notification of an alert, but I didn't want to view it right away, or I was in the middle of doing something else, I can always go back to my event main page and open up the alert screen. So here I'm going to see two options at the top, show only my alerts and show all alerts. Show only my alerts indicates that these alerts were triggered and I was on the list to receive the alert. And show all alerts are going to show all alerts that were triggered on this event, regardless if I was indicated as a person to be notified. You can navigate between the two. To view the full details of an alert, you can just select an individual alert and you'll see, again, the general information and the data point details. For assignments, if you receive a push notification letting you know that you've received an assignment, you can open it up and be brought to the mobile application. We'll show you the details, instructions if there's any, due dates, the proximity, location. Same with alerts. If you didn't want to open it at the moment that you received the notification, you can always go back to the assignments icon underneath the tracking status bar, and you can see all of the assignments and their completion status. By default, we'll see all of my assignments. I can filter by ones that are incomplete and ones that have been completed. There are also colors that your assignment could be associated with. So if you see red or white, that indicates that it's incomplete. And if you see green, that indicates that it has been completed. Now the red and white is going to be determined by if there's a due date or not. So while both of these assignments are incomplete, only one is considered overdue because a due date was assigned and I did not complete it in time. And green indicates that they have been completed regardless. I can open up an assignment to mark it complete once I've collected the requested data or done the particular ask of whoever sent me the assignment. And I can leave a message when I'm marking it as complete. The last main thing I want to go over for the CBRNResponder mobile application is the chat functionality. Organizations do not have this enabled by default. If your organization wants to leverage this capability, you can send us an email at support@cbrnresponder.net and we can turn this on for you. But it must be enabled for each individual organization. You can then leverage chat from both the website and the mobile application. For the mobile application, even though you can collect data through CBRNResponder in an offline mode, in order to use chat, you must be connected to the internet or have data connection. If you want to initiate or access your chat, you can either do so from the CBRNResponder main menu or from your bottom icon when you're within an event. And if you want to initiate a conversation, you'll open up the chat option, select Start New Conversation. You'll then choose the conversation type, whether you want to send a message to an individual person or a field team. Once you select the conversation type and either the person or the field team that you wish to communicate with, you'll select the next arrow. As a reminder, we have a privacy notice here about do not enter any PII into chat messages. The chat messages are not private and chat logs may be exported. This was a request that we received from users doing FEMA graded exercises. They wanted to be able to export the chat logs. So that's why we let you know not to indicate or enter any PII. And you do have to acknowledge that you understand this. So you do have to tap this message at the bottom before you're able to send a message. You'll type in your message just like any other messaging application, and you can select this paper airplane or send icon to send your message. At this time, we can only send text. We cannot send attachments such as photos or documents. You can send and receive messages in real time as long as you have that data connection, and it can be between mobile to mobile, mobile to web, or web to web. Here is just a quick example of sending a message. Sending it. And I can either leave my chat open or I can go back to the app, but I will receive a badge icon if it's unread. And then here we have the message itself and I'm responding to it. That takes us to the end of the updated CBRNResponder introductory mobile app webinar. The slides from the webinar will be available in the resource library, and the recording will also be available on YouTube and the resource library as well. If you have any questions, if you want to enable chat or get more information about the CBRNResponder app, you can email us at support@cbrnresponder.net, or you can visit our resource library for job aids, videos, and various guidance documents.